So what's the current makeup of your YouTuberverse at the moment? 'Cause you've got multiple channels, right?
Yeah, the only one I really use at the moment is Akkad Daily, because I'm currently setting up a website to do the same sort of things through. And I'll start a podcast and other things after I've done that. So I'm just using this one at the moment.
Got you. And then you've still got the old archived one, the grandfathered one.
Yeah, but YouTube have quarantined it in some way. So, and I tested this the other day on my new channel. I've got 300,000 subscribers, and if I put up a video within the first 18 hours, I'll have 1 million impressions and something like 200,000 views. And on my old channel, I put it up, and in the first 18 hours, I had about 100,000 impressions, and that's got 900. That's got 3 times the subscriber base as my new channel, and yet it'll get something like a tenth of the views. And it's crazy because my content isn't, I don't think, markedly different. My audience still seems to be there. So it seems very much that the channel itself has been throttled in some way. So I guess I just have to leave it.
I love the idea of a quarantine channel.
Yeah, well, it happened to Tommy Robinson as well. And it's happened to a few. But these days they're just outright taking them down. There have been people who excuse me, people who are much more extreme than me, who have been slowly, the noose has been tightening, and now we've come to conservative channels because all of the alt-right or anything like that, they're all gone now. They're all on different platforms. So the noose is just growing tighter, and you can see that people get targeted before they get removed as well. Like Katie Hopkins and Milo had their blue check marks removed, for their verification check marks on Twitter removed, which is weird because it just kind of shows that it's not about verification. It's about a privilege then, isn't it? I mean, Milo and Katie didn't stop being Milo and Katie, and no one thought that they did. And since they were public figures of note, you would think that it would be important for the public to easily identify them, but apparently not.
It was a warning shot across the bow then.
Yeah, I think, it is. And I think, Facebook actually has an active list of, I can't remember exactly what they call the list, but essentially it just translates to wrong thinkers. I'm actually on it, and a lot of other people were on it who have been removed. I don't know how I still have a Facebook presence, but I don't say anything that's wrong, or crazy or even bigoted or anything like that. I don't even make jokes anymore, because you can't have any fun on the internet anymore, apparently.
But increasingly, I've noticed that your stuff appears to be more and more you kind of treading. It sounds a little bit sometimes like you are treading on ice.
Well, we are. There's very much a sword of Damocles hanging above our heads, and it's fallen a few times and cut me already. So
you've got the scars to prove it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've got the scars to prove it. That's right. So yeah, I just have to be the thing that's really interesting is the way this all worked out, because I can't help but notice that you're in your house, in your bedroom, doing this. And I began in very much the same way. I just had a 1-bedroom flat, and I was just doing it in my living room, because at the time I was unemployed. So I was just like, well, I may as well. And it took off. Now I have a converted garage as my office, but, I started in very much the same position. And it's interesting how we're being held to the same standards as something like CNN or Fox News, giant organizations with hundreds of employees. And we're being held to the same standards, which really makes you wonder why they need all of that to do their jobs, doesn't it? If it's so easy that just, guys in their homes can do as effective a job, then maybe there's a veil that they're hiding behind.
This was a point that Eric Weinstein made on Joe Rogan's podcast, better than I've heard anyone make it. And what he said was that people refer to the mainstream media now. That's what they do, CNN, the BBCs, so on and so forth. But
corporate media.
Hang on a second. If this podcast, me and you, Joe Rogan, or me and you, if this gets 100 million views, which would be great, but if this gets 100 million views and CNN puts a video up and it gets 500,000 views, who's mainstream media now? Now you can call them traditional media. Traditional media is a nice word. But they don't want that because mainstream's a signal. Mainstream is we are the arbiters of truth. We are the ones that.
It is. What we mean when we say mainstream isn't really the view counts, and it hasn't been for a while, and that's why we're being treated as competitors to them. But what they're talking about is approved. These are the approved media, the approved gateways.
The ratified ones.
Yeah, exactly. The people, and the thing is, because it is all a system that interlocks, you can, you can understand why they would want such a thing, because it puts them all essentially on the same team when it comes to certain issues. For example, the BBC, they brag about how everyone still comes to the BBC when they want to get, the coronavirus information. And it's like, okay, that's true, but you are also a privileged source because of your access. The politicians make the platforms as much as the platforms make the politicians. If politicians wanted, they could just refuse to do interviews with any of the media and just do interviews on their own YouTube channels using a smartphone or something. They could say, look, here's the questions I want to answer, blah, 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 blah. Thanks very much. And then the media would have to extract from that. And then they would just be just like anyone else. But it's access that they have. And it's a two-way street. It's from my time dealing with all of this, and I've met a few very interesting people in my time. It's very much about who you know, because there's no shortage of people. There's a shortage of trust. And so it's about creating like webs of trust between people. And it's very, and the thing is, I don't see how it could operate any other way. That's the problem, because you've got too many people who are pulling at you, I would say. So I think it's probably inevitable it's going to work that way. But yeah, so essentially when you're someone like me and you come from the complete outside, I didn't have any of this. I can see why they hate us.
Just some guy in his garage. Some guy in his garage, yeah.
Yeah. And because we can say things that they can't say. We can challenge narratives they don't dare challenge. And they'll punish us for it. That's what they're doing.